This thing, wow thing, you know that one? You make my heart, and this guy's just talking. Before rap, there were the Trogs. You make everything. And the same guy that wrote that, John Voight's brother, Chip Taylor, literally, also wrote, so from this song, from Wow Thing, using these chords, he also had Just Call Me Angel in the morning. Let's get whatever the lyrics are, baby. Just call me. And I noticed it was, you know, like the same chords. So I started to use the same. I said, oh, that's what songwriting is. You take chords that other people are using, and then you write your own melody and lyrics on top of that. And for me, the Beatles were everything. The genius of the Beatles is the kinds of chords they used. Listen to this next one. Rock bands don't do that. And I will say the only words I know, and you'll understand. Even there, you'll understand. That's a harmony. A harmony on guitar doing the thing. So they use those chords too. When the rain comes, you might as well be dead. When the rain comes. Wow thing. See, same chords. So I copied them, and one of the songs they had was I have bass fingers, so the hands are too thick for the strings, which is why Paul and Abe and all the rest of the guys who were ever in Kiss never allowed me to pick up a guitar. But I played some of the guitars on the albums. You wouldn't know. And I'm the guy that's going. That's me. Shade 2. Yep. That's me. But also some of the other guys played bass on the records. It wasn't just me. So I learned this, C to A minor, and then F, and then G. And a million songs of doing that. You know, what is that? Angel baby, yeah, angel baby, because I love you. You're too young to know what I'm talking about. You're 12. That was a big song. Lots of them. And usually in those days, 50s, hi darling, I love you. Anything that would scare the bejesus out of things. And then of course he'd do it falsetto. But Lennon would use those chords. One of my favorites. You know that? But the beginning was, and I heard the same chords when the Kinks were doing, you know that one? Well, she gets up in the morning, same chords, comes back home at 5:30, gets the same train every time. He's a well-respected man about town. See, F and G. Doing the best thing, ba ba ba. So I copied it. My uncle has arrived, and he always keeps me floating. He is so good to me. He treats me tenderly, and so on and so forth. So that very first song that I wrote happened to be recorded in 1966. That's a long time ago. That's 50 years ago, over that. And that is the oldest song on the largest box set of all time, GeneSimmonsVault.com. And over the past 50 years, because I'm an only child to my mom, I've been collecting me. I have report cards and old slippers and, you know, at least 10 or 12 yarmulkes. You know what those are?
Yes. Yeah, it's like a frisbee.
Like a frisbee, yeah, without the propeller.
It's like a hat without a brim.
Drink your gin and tonic, though.
Thank you, Adam.
So let me ask you. So your Uncle is a Rap was the first song you ever wrote. Obviously, the Beatles being a big influence, and a lot of the songs on the Vault are very Beatle influence. I want to talk about your songwriting process.
There's some R&B, there's some Motown stuff. And by the way, you should know that some of the stuff you heard had the Van Halen brothers and myself as a power trio from the 70s. We did 3 tunes together. There are 3 Bob Dylan, Gene Simmons co-writes that are on this, including Bob Dylan and I strumming and yakking it up and talking about stuff. And Joe Perry's on it. And all the Kiss guys, Ace, Paul, John, Ringo, they're all on it.
Shemp is on it.
And he just got an email from, or text from Ace. What did he say?
Hey, how you doing?
That's exactly what he said. And
But let me ask you, because one of the things I found fascinating when we were putting this together is you're stealing from yourself, if you will, your process. So you came up with a song, we played a little bit of Eskimo Sun, and then you borrowed and went back, and it became 3 or 4 other songs in the history of the band. So maybe you would go into that a little bit.
well, he's old, so he started hearing, you know, Kiss stuff and everything, and everybody's talking about obscure tracks, and he heard about a song called Eskimo Sun, which I had written in 1969. And it's on the box set, that version that was recorded then, God help me. And I loved, you know, Harrison's guitar playing. You know, he would... See? Right? It sounds like Harrison. Eskimo sun, you shine at me. Mother's love, far as the eyes can see. And then it goes to this part. And I just put that song away. Hundreds of songs. And then later on I said, you know, I like those chords. So I ripped it off. I used it again. And that became Only You Can Find, whatever the lyrics are, even though I wrote it. I need your love day and night. And that was recorded. And then Bob Ezrin heard that. He said, okay, let's take that piece and we'll stick it with that piece. And he put 2 or 3 of my songs together, and that became Only You for the Elder. But I always liked this section that Ezra never used. So I use it again. I've just begun since you've gone. To understand I'm the only one. And if you cross yourself at night, you know, all that stuff, and it was on my solo record. How's it go? I'll turn and see you. Don't run and hide. I'm always near you. I'm always near you. Near you. Here come those chords again. Remember the wild thing chords? I stole that again. So I keep borrowing and re-borrowing because there are only, relatively speaking, 8 notes in music. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's it. And the notes in between. And what you can do, and I keep doing it all the time, you'll find 50 years of at least my songwriting that spans many decades, many different musical genres with lots of people on it, and some with just me playing drums, keyboards, everything else. And I constantly go back and listen to, that's good, but it's not good enough. I'm going to rewrite that or borrow it and start it over again. What say you?
Which was the case of a song called "Bad Bad Lovin'" that went on to become a song that we all know and love. So you tell that story and play a little bit of what it became.
So I came up with chords which I thought were okay. And I had the original thing. Give me my love, baby, oh, so bad. It's funny. You'd think the mother of my children, Shannon, would love Kiss. She hates Kiss. She hates it. I'm like, Shannon, check out this new song I got. Put my log in your fire. She said, that's stupid. Why do you always sing like Yoda? Skywalker it is. Why do you sing like that? She hates it. So we don't play Kiss at home. She likes the big house, though. And it's big.
He says Duckin' again. Duckin'. Not Dockin'. Not the different show.
Different. You can't say that anymore.
You can't say Dockin'
Can't say
anymore.
You can't say anything.
Can't say that anymore.
Where was I going?
You were hopefully you were going to you Big House Shannon, but we're gonna take it back. Bad Bad Loving into.
Oh, so Bad Bad song. You need my love, baby. Oh, so bad. It's not the only. And then the chorus went. Don't you give a bad, bad loving, loving I cannot do without. She give me bad, bad loving, baby, loving there is no doubt about. Something like that. And that version is on the box set. But I then rewrote it a year later because I was watching, you may have read about this or not, the Three Stooges. Now, you're too young to know who they were. Have you heard of Three Stooges? Is that a yes or no?
He's giving you.
You have?
He's giving you the finger again.
Can't say that. Name one of the Three Stooges. Just her. You know Mo? High five on that. Wow. That's so cool.
He was the money guy.
Yes, he was the money guy.
He was the money guy.
So I heard them in an episode, because they used to have half-hour stuff on TV, which actually used to be what's called a short during between movies. And they're in the hospital and they're dressed like orderlies, and they have these white, and they're going back and forth in the hallways, and you'd hear, calling Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, calling Dr. And I have no idea why I went calling Dr. Love. Because I've got the cure you're thinking of. That just came to me right away. So then I went, they call me. And that came very fast, and I never looked back. Bad, bad loving, which I thought was just ordinary. But
They're coming for you.
Copyright infringement.
The guy from the Trogs called them. It's a wild thing.
Reg Presley. There you go. They also used to have another song. It was, what was it called? Wild thing. And using the same chords, of course.
So I'm not
I
gonna.
leave it in my finger. It's ever in my toes. Love is all around me. Come on and let it show. Same chord, same key. So what, Gene? Go ahead.
Can I get a proper piece of Calling Dr. Love for the audience? So proper, like a nice chunk
Such
of
a
it.
great sounding guitar on stage, thanks to our wonderful thing. And it's not in my key. Was this tuned down to D, young man?
He left.
Nobody's talking.
Yeah, he left.
Sound man?
He heard there were pancakes.
Sound man? Do you know if this was tuned down to a D?
I think it's an E.
Ah, that's why it's up there.
The acoustic's a D.
but the electric is not.
Correct.
Should I be afraid to ask why?
No.
Two different guitars in two different. That's why I'm not. Well, it's not in my key, but I'm going to find out where you live. You know, we just did a Gene Simmons gig 2 days ago in someplace else, and boy, was I good. You need my love, baby, oh, so bad. By the way, why is this not on song?
He's talking to you.
Now might be a good time to hand out cookies.
You guys have always been so sweet to me.
They're not listening.
At every single event, and believe me, it's my pleasure. When I come to meet you, wonderful people, it never ceases to amaze me. There are cookies, cakes, freshly baked stuff. I even got jam and white bread. Thank you for the 5 extra pounds. And
Gonna make you a sandwich while we're up here?
you think I'm kidding? There's fresh baked cakes and stuff. Now the women especially who bake these cakes and stuff stay right there until I take a big mouthful and swallow. They won't, you can't say that.
You can't say mouthful anymore. Or swallow. Or big.
I meant the bird.
Oh, the swallow.
Swallow, swallow, swallow.
All right, we'll get around that. That works.
So I'm not going to eat all these cookies. I have had 2 already. but
2 trays of them.
I'd be happy to share this with you. Would some of you like some cookies? That's a no. Yes?
Leave me a hand in here, standing here holding my cookies.
I can't say that anymore. Is that really Logan?
That's Logan.
Does he have adamantine bones? You know what that is, Mommy? Or you're his sister? How do you like me now? You know the bones that come out with Wolverine? Okay. Where were we now?
So what song could you play tuned to E? Is there any songs tuned to E that you could play?
You think that, what was the other,
Everything I Own by Brett.
Is that right?
Yes.
I would give anything. Wow thing. Give up my life. Wow thing, you make my heart sing. It's the same chord. I would give everything I own to give up what I own. So anyway, music is much simpler than you think it is, except everybody can write songs. I have a Gene Simmons master class where I teach people how to play an instrument and write your own song. But the hardest thing in the world for me, for anybody, is to write a good song. It's so hard. Writing songs, everybody does. Do you take showers, sir? When nobody is looking, besides all the other stuff that you do you hum in the shower? Yes. People do, you know, when you're doing something, housekeeping stuff, you're actually writing songs because we're naturally, in our DNA, musical. Birds sing, dogs, animals sing. All animals, whales sing. They do, they come up with their own melodies, and so do we. We're just not listening. You're not listening to that stuff. And the difference between the songwriters and you, or anybody here, is they actually record it and go in and try to, kind of develop what they're singing. In fact, I woke up, my hand to God, I woke up in the middle of the night, and it happened to me only once. I dream 1,000 dreams. Don't you? What's that? I'd walk 1,000,000 miles for you. If you just give me a smile, I could die and be happy too. And I thought, oh, Yeah, that must be the Platters or something. I've never heard that. It was actually a song that came from here, once. All the other things you have to dig through the mountain to get to the gold and everything. And I remember reading a story about McCartney who woke up in the middle of the night and actually had the Yesterday melody from beginning to end. And he thought it was a song that had already been written, but it happened once. So what's the perfect song?
I could leave if you don't need me anymore. So Gene, obviously there's a lot of songs. What besides that you feel like that's your most perfect song? What's the one song you wish you'd written because it literally is the most perfect song?
Wow.
Well, songs, in my estimation, should emote, give you a feeling, or make you somehow connect to you. And it doesn't always have to be about romance or, but the universality of loneliness or heartbreak or that sort of thing. So that's a big idea. The irony is my favorite personal song of all time was actually written by a guy whose happened during the silent era of motion pictures, and he was actually a funny guy, little guy. We used to call him the Tramp. Charlie Chaplin. You don't know who that is. You're very young. And he was the most popular guy. And he would walk around with a cane on his funny. You know what he wrote?
Having kids.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, though your heart is breaking. Just every girl would fall in love with this guy. And just wow. Smile no matter what's going on. And at the end, and you just smile. That's a perfect song. Because the name of the song is Smile. The very first melody and lyric you hear is Smile, and it ends with the word smile. All the other songs, you got to wait a minute. You got to wait. And then it only takes a while. I've been waiting for you. Finally at the end, love. That's how long it takes. 2 minutes to get into the chorus. The genius of the Beatles is they listened to Gershwin and yes, Charlie Chaplin. Here's Yesterday. Yesterday, that's the beginning. Or Hey Jude, that's the name of the song. In fact, Hey begins even before there's a chord. It goes just vocally, hey, then the band comes in, Jude. That's genius. The other bands can't touch it. We can't shine their shoes. That songwriting talent is... I'll get that. By the way, do they make that ring for men? I hope that was a chick answering that phone. Well, is that a guy answering the phone? Is that your phone? Is it a man or a woman? Or unsure?
Other.
Yeah, is it other?
No, man.
He's a big fan
It's
of
a him?
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're going to be popular in jail. Oh boy. Yeah, just bring that ringer with you. Block 4. Next. So
before we open up to questions and maybe a few requests, tell the Van Halen story. Tell how you came to find the Van Halen brothers and how they came to be on 3 of the songs that are in the vault.
Well, I went to a club called the Starwood in 1977. My date was a girl named B.B. Buell, playmate. They were always playmates, thank God. And she knows she's mouthing the words. So she eventually gave birth to Liv Tyler, who's become a big deal. So after we stopped being friends, do you understand? Then she became friendly with Steven Tyler, and they eventually had a child with him. And then she went to Elvis Costello and Mink and everybody.
That's the history of B.B. Buell.
And she's a sweet girl, wonderful to this day. So we go to the Starwood, and I'm invited to go see a band called The Boys with 2 Z's. A guy named He was in Donkin. What's the guy's name? George Lynch, that's right, Lynch Mob. Yeah. And so George Lynch was a guitar player, and I was invited to go see the band. They're the headliner, but opening up was a band that had just changed their name from Mammoth to Van Halen. And I'm up in the balcony, and hey man, can I have your autograph? Hey man, hey man. So I'm trying to be nice to everybody, and I hear this music, and I go, what is that? And you start to hear, all that stuff, and I immediately just stopped and went to the front. And I said, I've never seen or heard anything like that. Never heard a guitar player like that, not in rock. There was Barney Kessel in the Alcaiola in jazz, but no rockers like that. So I waited backstage and I talked to the guys. I said, look, this yogurt manufacturer who's going to pay you a lot of money, don't do it. I'll pay you. I'll pay you to come to New York City. I'll fly you in and I'll produce your demo because you're the next big thing. And so they didn't sign with this guy. And I was lucky enough that they signed to my company, Man of a Thousand Faces, in '77. I flew to New York. We did 15 songs, which became, those versions were on almost all the first record and a few from the second record. And I still have those 24-track records. And there's 15 other songs, 1-5, that have never been released. An amazing version of House of Pain that kicks the butt out of the House of Pain that the guys use. And Kiss had to go back out on tour, and so I couldn't spend time running around to record companies, and so I tore up the contract, and I said, guys, you're free. When Kiss comes back from Japan, in about 10 months or so, I'll go back and knock on some more doors. But by that time, they got a deal with Warner Brothers, and boom, they just went off the thing. The irony is, I tried to get the guys to do a cover version of something because you're going to need a first single, and they wouldn't listen. But of course, the first hit they had was You Really Got Me by the Kinks, which got them started, a great version. And to this day, I'm thankful that the brothers Van Halen were kind enough to jump into the studio with me. We stopped in LA. I had written 3 new songs. One was Christine 16, Tunnel of Love, and God Love for Sale. And I was going to record them by myself, and I thought maybe the guys want to jump in and lend their hand. So Alex on drums, Eddie on lead guitar, me on rhythm guitars, all background vocals and bass and all that. And it's in the box set, pretty damn good. In fact, Edward, that's how he likes to be called. In fact, Edward's solo on Christine 16 was so good that I gave my only begotten child, oh, I'm sorry. I went off the deep end. That Edward's solo was so good that I forced Ace to copy that solo note for note. And so the solo on Christine 16 that you hear on the Kiss version, which went on to do well, was actually, quote, written or played originally by Edward Van Halen.
Can we hear a little Christine 16?
Oh, yes. But I can't play. So I barely could wrap my fingers around those kinds of chords, but I learned how to do a sus4. Head and I go and search out the chords. So she drives me dizzy. She sees me through to the end. She's got me in her hands. See what I mean? You know what I mean by that? She's got me in her hand. There's no use in pretending. Christine 16 started at a time when Paul and I, he'd come in with a song, out on the streets for a living, pictures on living. I said, I like that song, and it went like this. Out on the streets for a living, and so we actually rehearsed that and everything. I said it needs something, like Satisfaction needs that riff. Bum, bum, da, da, da. That becomes a thing. So I'm the guy that did all those riffs. This one. In fact, I ripped it off. I went. Here it comes. That's charisma. See? And Paul would come in with, love her all I can. Go, no, you know what? It needs something. I'm the guy that did. You know where that comes from? It comes from this. That's where that comes from. So when you hear it, that's all, folks.
So why don't we open up to some questions?
Sure.
So there's a microphone over here. Nobody be shy. Does somebody see the microphone? Where's my? It's right here with this young lady right here. She's like. So let's see how far we get at the word. And there was a cord attached.
That was bound to happen. So give her yours.
I'll say something. You're freaking a badass in Runaway.
There you go.
Well, you're talking about movies. We actually are just launching a new joint venture film company called ArcLight. We have 8 pictures in the hopper that's coming up. First one is being written now by the guy that wrote Shine with Jeffrey Rush, but Keith's going to talk over my stuff. And it's going to be the Dusty Springfield story. Ooh. Based on one of my favorite singers of all time.
So if someone would like to ask a question, come up as close as you can. Anyone?
Hey, Gene, I got a question for you.
Okay.
This week it came out on the internet, but you trademarked the end of the road.
Honest to God, I saw that. And so I sent a photo of it to the lawyers and going, what the hell is that? And they apologized. They said that Paul trademarked that and they forgot to tell me. So I literally know nothing about it. I don't know what it is or if it's one of his art pieces or I don't know what it is. True. I know where you were going with this. Ace joining and are you going to go to the moon? And I have no idea.
Emmanuel Valles.
I'm sorry?
Emmanuel Valles.
What?
His name's Emmanuel.
Hi, Emmanuel. Are you in my what?
I have a question for you, King.
You gotta help me out.
Spit it out.
What? I have a question for you.
You have a question? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know what is a Shmekel?
Do you know what is El Shmucko?
What is a
A Shmekel.
What is
A Shmekel. What is a Shmekel? Yeah, I knew this was a setup. A Shmekel is, I'll tell you what a Shmekel is. It's in German and Yiddish. Ich kann sprechen ein bisschen Deutsch, ich habe gelernt auf der Schule. I can speak some German, Hungarian, Hebrew, English, a few words in Japanese. And Shmekel is not a word you want to use often. It literally, it refers to something down there.
I think he actually knows what a Shmekel is.
You know what a Shmekel is? Okay, well, God bless.
guess my question is, how was it working with Wendy O? I know there was a couple songs on the box set that were written for
Well,
her.
one of the that's a good question. The Plasmatics, which was Wendy O. Williams' band, opened for Kiss around '82, and I was always a fan of Wendy, not the band. I didn't think the band was up to her fierceness. It was just a decent band, and so when she asked me to produce the next Plasmatics record, I said, "Thank you, but it's really not my stuff. I don't think the songs have choruses and things like that." And so I said, "But if you want to do a solo record, I'll produce that." She said, "He wants to talk to him. What do you want to do?" "What?" "Well, you're doing this." So
Trying to land a plane.
Just doing that. And he wears glasses, so I thought there was a connection. You're done? Okay. So Wendy said, "Okay, I'll do a solo record." And you got to remember, she's barely wearing anything with a mohawk. I mean, she's fierce. Always straight. No drugs, no booze. She ate, healthy and didn't, you thought she was a crack. Nothing like that. She was completely straight. And thank you very much, and kind and gracious and all that. So I said I'd produce her album if I get to call everything. You're not going to write any songs. You're not going to write lyrics. If you come up with something, it's got to be up to a certain level. And the thing that I thought was missing was she didn't sing about herself. The DNA, when Jagger goes, "Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and fame." It's sort of saying, this is sort of my persona. Even if it's a story song, I'm the God of Thunder, I'm Dr. Love. Somewhere, somehow, you got to sing about who you are. I did it my way. I've been a pauper, a pirate, a pope. You got to, who are you? Or are you just a singer singing a song? Are you just a commercial a voice that sings stuff? That's what makes an iconic thing, because the songs say something about who they are. And there weren't any Wendy songs. And I thought Paul actually came up with "It's My Life." Hold on. Gotta turn it on, Gene. "It's my life, and I'll do what I wanna do." I'm singing the wrong pitch. Paul wrote that. And we were going to work on it and everything. And I don't know why, we just never did. So I wrote a verse. "I got a reputation. People know who I am." Thank you for tuning this up to E. "Rules are made to be broken. Can't kill what you don't understand. I see you lying scared. I never knew you cared. Don't hold your head in the sand. I've been to hell and back. I forgot. I survived, and that's a fact. It's my life, and I do what I wanna, do what I wanna, do what I like. I said, "Yeah, that's Wendy." And so I made her record it, but none of her band played on it. I had Vinnie Vincent on it, and Ace Frehley was on it, and Paul Stanley was on it, and Eric Carr was on it. The entire band, secretly. We used different names. And that was her first single. I don't know if I answered your question, but I love the sound of my own voice. And I mean that.
Hey, Gene, I'm just wondering, what is your favorite Beatles song of all time?
Oh my God. You're talking about guys that at 20, I'm still learning how to scratch or wipe. I still don't do a good job of it. But at 20 years of age, I couldn't do any of that. They were writing things like "Hey Jude" and "Yesterday" and all that. Across the Universe is astonishing, because what Lennon does with the Jaws melody, that's a half-step note as chords are moving by. That's difficult material. So like the bridge in Somewhere over the rainbow, da-da-da. That's a beautiful melody, somebody can do it. It's not impossible to do, but the bridge was somewhere over that bridge, that's genius. It uses that little, like irritant, like those cop cars. It makes you, kind of like dogs want to itch it. That's what Lennon knew how to do that McCartney didn't. So across the universe is the major. That's great, and the whole song is that. So across the universe, maybe right up there. But then you've got While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and you've got And Your Bird Can Sing, and just a million songs.
Okay, so right here.
Thank you. Hey, Gene, I was at your concert in 1997 in Baltimore. And, I was in the front row the last minute. Greatest thing, be in the front row. Dream come true. This lady, she kept pulling me during the show. I guess she worked...
Excuse me?
She kept pulling on me during the show. She was in the front row with me. She kept pulling on my jacket or my shirt, whatever. She just... But then when you got For God of Thunder, you go up in the air. All she kept tugging me. I was like happy to watch you sing. And she just kept saying, he's afraid of heights. He's afraid of heights. So I just got a question for you. You afraid of heights?
Yes. No, I am. I'm not fond of heights. I'm not a fan of fire. I'm not.
That's all she kept saying the whole time. He's afraid of heights. I'm like, oh, I just want to hear the song, man. So,
I misunderstood what you were saying.
She just said, I was trying to listen to the song and I was just happy to be there. And I was a kid.
All he heard was the woman was pulling on you.
That's all we all heard.
Oh, no, he didn't say that. No, he kept pulling my jacket.
He said pulling, not.
Is that the young lady who you married? Is that who you're married?
I'm up? Okay. Gene, first of all, thanks for doing this. I'm sure I speak for everybody in this room. Thank you, really. We're thrilled.
It means more to me, you live, you work hard and stuff, and right before you die, all you got are the memories and the stuff like that.
It's really cool.
This I'm going to remember.
It's really cool. We will too. 45th anniversary of Alive and Alive 2 are looming. Is there any plans to do box sets? And if there is, Alive and Alive 2. The holy grail for a lot of us would be the recordings that were recorded for those shows: Wildwood, Davenport, Detroit, Cleveland, and the video from Detroit from May '75 that exists. If you do decide to do box sets of those two, I'm just personally begging you to put that stuff in the box set, because that would be the ultimate, to have an Alive box set with all of those shows that you guys did, that Eddie recorded, with the video from Kobo and a booklet with the photos and just the whole 9 yards. That would be that's the holy grail for a lot of us, really, when it comes to the...
Duly noted, but we haven't talked about it. Paul and I really, since the beginning of... We like to think that a table's got 4 chairs. Four legs, and a car's got 4 tires and stuff. We wanted that band where everybody carries an equal amount of the load, and everybody's a star in the band, and everybody gets to sing lead. And we really wanted kind of like a Beatles template. But in real life, it doesn't wind up that way. Some people just will not carry the load and step up and do the work. So Paul and I have been talking about this forever, but even between Paul and myself, there are differences. We're 2 different sides of the same coin, but we're completely different people as people. So I like to work every day. Where were we this morning?
We came from Boston.
We were in Boston. We had a late night, and it started snowing, and he says it's going to snow, there's a weather coming. We don't care. We're going to figure out a way to come in. So we fly commercial. We don't use bodyguards or any of that crap. We just come and we do it. Paul is the brother I never had. I love him to death. The most professional guy. He won't do this. Just certain things. So I want to do box sets, and I want to do things like every day into stuff. And it's within KISS, because he and I are partners, it takes longer to decide what to do. But when we do it, I'm really proud of it. But me, I just throw caution to the wind, and I don't care if there are mistakes. But I will tell you, this, let me just snap the side of it.
Awesome.
That's hardcore. That weighs 40 pounds, and you'll see, there's nothing like this that's ever been done. This will win the Grammy for, I don't care about those things, for the best package.
Did you say best package or best folk recording? Is that what you said?
Folk recording, yeah.
All right, we'll take one more question down front, and then guys, if you have questions, obviously you can ask them in the room. We want to make sure everyone gets their time with Gene. Oh, so hold on, we got a guy in full makeup. Do you mind if let's have the guy in full makeup? And you, it strike me as a man who doesn't need a microphone to ask a question. So go ahead and shout it out. The guy behind you in full makeup. Go in the bathroom, put on makeup.
Or is it a lady?
Oh, he's
Go on, John.
he's probably soft-spoken.
Wait. Get the microphone.
Yeah.
My name is John Cook. I've been a fan of yours since September '75.
What's the name of your band? Because with a voice like that, you're right.
I was actually in an AC/DC tripping band.
How about that?
I had to give it up. I broke my leg in 9 places. I got a titanium leg now.
Did you know that we took them out on their first North American tour?
Yeah, with Bon Scott, yeah.
Because we loved them. That's why you do it. You always put your hand out when you're on top of the mountain, see somebody behind you, give them a little. If you love them, pull them up on stage.
Just sing a song.
Bon Jovi, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Rush, you name it, we pull them right up there. They all do great. Not because of us, because they deserve to be up there.
Night Ranger and Creatures of the Night.
Maybe other bands, but go ahead.
Well, when they were good. Not when they went with Sister Christian and all that stuff. But Gene, I always wanted to ask you, when I served in the military, you got me through with, anybody remember a movie called Trick or Treat? Yes. Yeah. Remember a guy named Duke? Who gave him the acetate? He said, Sammy Curry, this was his acetate. Gene started to get into doing films. I got a little time off the base in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I just made it through basic training. It was very tough. All my buddies were going this way. I said, I got to go see my guy, Gene Simmons. I went to see that movie. My question is, how did you get involved with Trick or Treat? And was it fulfilling? Did you like playing the role of Nuke? I know it was a small role, but it was awesome.
They offered me the lead, the rock guy.
Sammy Curry.
Right. They offered me that thing. I said, I don't want to do that. So they refashioned it. I was going to be fashioned more like me, because I'm 6'2" and all that. And so they refashioned the guy to look like a kind of a Motley Crue kind of a looking guy with studs and leather and that kind of stuff. But originally he was going to be me with, demonic makeup and all that. And I said, I wasn't interested in that, and thanks very much. And they didn't say anything about Ozzy to me until after the movie was shot. We were about to start a tour in a few months, I don't remember. And so they said, we need your hair cut shorter, so I did. And the role shot for about a week. I flew in, did all my stuff. There used to be a company called De Laurentiis, which went on to do the James Bond movies and everything, but they had their own film company as well. So that film was done very quickly, and then after I filmed my stuff, they said, oh yeah, Ozzy's going to be in the movie too. I don't know. Did that answer? But it's much more interesting for me to do something that, it's not about a guy playing the guitar. So there was a Japanese movie called Detroit Metal City that came out. Yeah. And based on a manga, their comic book things, called Detroit Metal City, very popular there. And they made a movie, it's on Netflix, and they made a movie, all Japanese cast. I could barely communicate with, the director, nobody spoke a word of English, and I'm playing this kind of demonic guy, whatever, from another dimension, who imbues his spiritual force, whatever, on the lead singer of this band, which looks like a hybrid of Kiss guy crossed with a guy who none of you have heard of, who's passed away, called Klaus Nomi, who was part of the mime scene in New York City in 1973. He didn't make it, unfortunately, but he was unique. And there was also Joe Bryant, all these guys that came really close, never made it. I don't know where I just went to, but...
When you start going with Klaus Nomi and Joe Bryant,
You know, I sat next to, you'll see a tweet. You'll see a tweet coming today because I was proud to sit next to one of America's finest. You'll see his name. He's a major and he's on his way to the Middle East, 4th deployment. 4th. And he's got a wife and a child and he's quietly sitting beside me, and I'm a jackass. The first person that comes on is smiling, and I was about to say, please excuse that, I'm Gene Simmons. They could give a fuck about me. They were smiling because a real hero was there, and I was humbled. That's right, you smile because somebody is risking their life and going overseas for you. I just stick my tongue out, that's all I do. That's a good lesson. And so he gave me permission to tweet, and we took photos with each other, and I can't tell you, the entire plane was just buzzing, and he was the most humble. That's a hero. See, not like us jackasses who get up on stage and go, look at me, look at me. He's humble, he quietly goes there and risks his life for an idea called America. Quietly, without, where's my millions and where's my parades. Just quietly does what he feels in his heart. That's a rock star.
Want to hand out some balls? Want to meet some people?
Yeah.
On the balls. Hand out some balls and meet some people. No. Balls.
I would love to. I look forward to meeting each of you face to face. I'll see you on this semester.
All right, people. Hope you enjoyed that. Here's my buddy Rob, my Kiss buddy. Enjoy it out there. Listen to the Hotter Than Hell podcast. See you later.